Welcome to Connected, where no topic is off topic. I am your host, Kimberly Dam. Hello. So today, I want to talk about a topic that always gets me super excited. And honestly, I have a lot to say about it, so I apologize in advance if it feels like I'm just kind of all over the place, if there's just like a lot of incongruity. So today I want to talk about manifestation. Manifestation is really just such an interesting topic to me. And I feel like I've learned a lot about manifestation. I've learned about like what kind of works and what doesn't work. And again, as I've said before, these are just my own personal experiences. If there is something that you have tried that works for you, then by all means, move forward using that tool or tactic. But for me personally, it's been interesting with manifestation because I think whenever, we kind of dive in to a new way of approaching life, we start to kind of dabble and we just, I don't know about you guys, but I soaked up everything that I could about manifestation because I really wanted to play. I understood how, I guess, like I understood intellectually how the universe worked, and I wanted to start playing with energy. And so, one of the first things actually that I have ever manifested in my life was an opportunity to move to Hawaii. Obviously, I did not follow through on that opportunity, but I manifested the presentation of the opportunity and we essentially declined. So we decided to move to North Carolina instead. Which I'll get onto. I'll talk later about why I made that decision. But anyway, so during that time, manifestation, what was really profound, well, not necessarily profound, but amazing, is at that time, it was the beginning of my manifestation journey, like really working. And it was just amazing that I was able to bring such a wonderful opportunity in, something that to me was a dream opportunity. And it was really easy. But what's so funny is I think that it was easy because I didn't know as much as I know now. And in my personal journey, I feel like things became more complicated before I really start to understood things a little bit clearer. And let me explain what I mean by that. So I just want to put this out there. If you are trying really hard to manifest something and it's not coming in, there's a reason. There's always a reason. And this is the thing, is people that are really tied to the belief of manifestation, they don't necessarily believe that. They believe that like what they want, they can have. And I come from more of the school of thought that your number one top priority here is the evolution of your soul. Okay. So if that means that you say you want, and I'm going to use this as an example because I was confronted with it recently by one of my own friends. But if you want a Mercedes Benz, okay, he loves Mercedes. If you want a Mercedes Benz and you want it so badly and you're doing everything in your power to get this Mercedes Benz, you're working hard, blah, 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 blah. There could be a couple of things that are occurring, which is why you're not being presented with a Mercedes Benz. To me, according to like my school of thought, number one, you're either not enjoying the journey, and thus, if you're not enjoying the journey of acquiring what it is that you want, then that is creating resistance. That is a block. Okay. You can also have other blocks, like you really don't inherently believe that it's possible. You really don't inherently believe that you deserve it. There's all those surface, what I consider surface blocks. But to me, one of the biggest blocks is if you are working really hard at getting something and it's not coming to fruition, the reason really why is because you're kind of in crappy energy. You may not be realizing it because you've got your goal on the prize. And yes, if you can like sit there and say work, at a gas station, say you've got a full-time job, but then you're working at a gas station at night to, make more money so that you can acquire this Mercedes. If you're sitting there and if you're able, while you work at that gas station, to be in a high vibration and to enjoy the job and to, sit there and fantasize about the Mercedes, and you're able to do that, that's great. But if you're tired and if you're exhausted and if you're feeling down or if you're feeling impatient, oh my God, impatience to me is like one of my largest blocks when it comes to manifestation. And it is for a lot of people, honestly, especially in this instant gratification world that we live in. We want things now. And so if you are doing something that is not great for your spirit, meaning that it drags it down, if you're doing something that drags your spirit down in order to acquire something, then obviously that is going to stop you from receiving that. The other two reasons that I believe that we don't manifest what we want um, is that, again, I believe ultimately we are here for our soul's evolution. And sometimes what we want is not what is in alignment or for our highest good. And that can be a really tough pill to swallow, because I think that unfortunately when, The Secret, came on and everybody started talking about manifestation and getting really excited about it, and Abraham Hicks with her, her videos, and people just being like, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." And don't get me wrong, like I believe that you can manifest amazing things for yourself, but I also believe that you can face some kind of like some fight back. And one of those reasons why I believe that is because it just may not be for you. It may not be for you. There is, I'm not even going to say there may be, there is something better for you, always. And so where we come in and we're like, okay, well, there may be something better, and then that something better comes in. And yes, it's easy to kind of see it then, or sometimes it's not. Again, it's for the evolution of our soul. So better, you could sit there and say, well, no, not really better. Well, yeah, it is better. It's that it just may not be that you can't see it right away. You may see it not till 5, 10, 15, 20 years later, till when there's that lesson attached and you see, oh, okay, that's why that didn't come through. Because if that had come through, then this wouldn't have come through and it wouldn't have taught me this. I hate it because I want to believe, to some extent, I do see this world as our playground. And I do believe that we are powerful beings. I believe that we have so much capability to bring anything that is within our heart's desire to fruition. I truly do believe that. I believe that it takes time. I believe that we inherently have blocks, whatever those blocks are. And I do believe that at the end of the day, because everything is connected, that whatever you receive is always going to be for the greatest good of all. If you are trying to bring something in and it's not for the greatest good of all, you may not get it. It's so hard because the reason actually why I chose to talk about this topic today is because I've actually received my first listener email, and it was a question about manifestation and whether or not I truly believe in it. Um, and the reason why is because a couple years ago, I had actually posted a YouTube video about manifestation, and I talked about how it was this 7-layer cake and how you had to do like these these like 7 things in order to easily bring manifestations into your life. And while I still hold true to some of those, I believe that for me things, and this is where I'm kind of going back to the beginning, when I manifested my opportunity in Hawaii, I I did honestly the perfect thing. It was like what I kind of considered the perfect equation. I knew without a doubt that it could happen, and I wanted it to happen, and I put inspired action behind it happening. And then though, I let it go. I let everything just go. And I think it was easy for me to do that because also in the back of my mind, I kind of just said, well, if it doesn't come through, like there's always another. There's always another. And I think that that's a really good I really think that that's a great outlook to have. That, if something doesn't come through for you, that there's something better, or there's something that will bring you more opportunity, more abundance, more love, whatever, what have you. So, to me, that's kind of like the perfect equation. I was excited about it. I knew that it was completely possible, and I only took action that inspired me on it. To me, like that, it's the perfect equation. Now, where we can get kind of caught up is we get very caught up in the process of manifestation. We try to we're kind of human beings, so we try to make things really fucking complicated. We have a tendency to approach manifestation with our brain, from our mental space rather than from our heart space and from our sacral space. And to be honest, I have really understood after probably like, I mean, what has it been, like 5 years of play, that the most powerful space that you can manifest from is excitement. When you are excited about something, that to me is your cue to step in and to go after it. And you can go after it until it no longer brings you excitement. Like to me, that's the chase. Okay. Like I want to encourage everyone to do that, to be honest. Those of you that are familiar with human design, I'm a manifesting generator. So this is very much my language. Feeling excited about something and going after it and going down the road until I'm kind of no longer excited about it, and then I bail. Which, by the way, we have built a society that casts people like that as being flighty and immature and freaking commitment phobes and all of this stuff, and it's absolutely ridiculous. To me, it is the only way that I feel I can actually function in this world. I don't know, like I just want things to light me up, and I don't want to apologize for that. I don't want to apologize for pursuing something for 3 years and then deciding to, jump ship when it's not exciting to me anymore. To me, after that, I'm wasting my time. And honestly, I think we're all wasting our time. I'm just putting that out there. I think that if you are doing something that doesn't excite you, that you're wasting your time. And that manifestation and just manifesting things in general are going to come a lot slower and with a lot more like gristling. I love that word, gristling. Um, so yeah, I think what happened is I went from this space of like, okay, here's what I want. Sorry guys, I have a tendency to snap. Here's what I want. This is, I know it's possible, and I'm going to take the inspired action, and then I'm going to let it go. To me, that is very much like a great flow state. Like it's like the flow state. It's very not there's no attachment. There's just desire and inspired action. You remove, any type of resistance to you not being able to receive it, from not thinking that you can't, or that you don't deserve it. You just know that it's possible. And so it was kind of great in a way because I learned that I went from that space to like this very over analytical um, mental space about manifestation, and realizing that I was just like making it way too complicated. And unfortunately, when we make things complicated, they're no longer fun. It's a very adult approach. It's like, this is why like Abraham Hicks in some ways is so ridiculously popular, is because she makes us realize that it is an inherent capability that we have. We don't have to work for it. It's almost like, to some extent, you can take what she says and you can make it complicated, or you can sit there and say, okay, it's not that I have to catch up my mental space to my sacral or my heart space. It's that I have to pull back my mental space. It's that I have to pull back my ego. It's that I have to work from the heart and the sacral chakras, like in the solar plexus. I have to work from that level of excitement. I have to work from that. That is my compass. And so, you can go either way. And me being the person that I am, I went very analytical, and, I decided to like really make it like almost a very big process. I had like my Pinterest board and like all of these things. And I realized that really all of my manifestations came in, like, not, I'm not saying that all of my manifestations have come in, because that is so not the truth, but all my manifestations that did come in were the ones that honestly I didn't give that much thought to. They were the ones that were just like, okay, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to go after it, and I'm going to chase it until I'm bored with it, and then I'm out. And it was really interesting, because for me, the greatest lessons came from the ones that I didn't even work, or didn't even really think to manifest, or that I didn't even work to manifest. And so this brings me to my next point that I just want to make. I think that we need to, if you're struggling with manifestation, and bringing things in, I think that we need to treat it like a child. I think we need to see it through the eyes of a child. When you were a kid, manifestation was easy peasy. You didn't even give it anything, you didn't even know that you were doing it. You didn't give any thought to it. You didn't have a process around it. It's because you didn't learn, you didn't have any conceptualization around money. You had no belief systems built around money. You didn't know, you weren't familiar with laws. You weren't really familiar with the way of the 3D world. You just, the majority of us, right up until we were maybe like 5, we just saw something, and it either excited us or it didn't. And if it excited us, we went and we did it. Or we wanted it, and then we acquired it. That impulse, that, oh, okay, like, let's go do this. Okay. Like that whole idea of like when you're a kid and you're just like, I want to do this. I remembered being 9, and okay, so my mom took me to dance class when I was 3, and I hated it. So she obviously took me out. And then I remembered when I was 9, I went to my cousin's dance recital, because they both took dance. And I remembered seeing a number where they whipped off like 3 fouettes and 3 renversés and 1 turn sequence. And I remember just sitting there and being like, as a kid, just being mind blown and being like, I want to do that. I want to do that. And from then on, my mom obviously put me in dance lessons. And what kills me is, I was 9. And to turn around and then be able to do like fouettes and renversés and all these turn sequences a year later, or even 2 years later, or even 3 years later, or 4 years later, I didn't even, it's like I got into dance class and I completely forgot that that was the whole, like, that was the whole reason that brought me there. I got into dance class and honestly, I just fell in love. So I kept doing it. And then eventually I was able to do those turn sequences. And it's weird because when I look at it, even up until probably about 10, 15 years ago, I didn't really reflect on that much, right? Like the manifestation process of that. But that's essentially what it was, is I saw something that excited me. I got in it. It continued to excite me. It continued to bring me so much fulfillment. Oh my God, like I love dance and I will always love dance. And so it just continued to bring me that level of excitement and fulfillment and also like a sense of achievement that I continued and continued and continued and eventually manifested turn sequences that were honestly, more advanced than the one that I saw on stage that day. Like that is manifestation. Like it is that easy. And I think that we get like really we just get really in our heads. We get really in our heads about, oh my God, it's such a difficult process because we look at these things that are external to us and we think that like they're of a different value than us. My friend may look at a Mercedes and he may think, even though he already has one, he just wants the next model. Anyway, he may look at a Mercedes and to some level, he's like, but I can't, I don't know if I can have that. I've already got this one. I should just be grateful. That whole I should just be grateful. Like look, don't get me wrong. Gratitude is amazing. It's a beautiful, beautiful practice. But that whole I should be grateful is you basically feeling guilty for wanting anything, which is just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But him wanting that Mercedes, like it's who cares? Who cares? It's not of a greater value than you. It's not like this thing. The minute that we start treating things that are external to us, the minute we start placing them on a higher pedestal, we've we've completely disconnected ourselves from understanding what we are. There are men and women that created that Mercedes. The only reason that that Mercedes exists is because of us. So how on earth can it be placed at a higher value? It can't. It can't. So once you start to kind of just look at everything as being, what's really interesting is I've actually seen people who, when they start to see everything as being on an equal level to them, their desires completely change. Because unfortunately, we live in a world where certain things equal status. And it's like I don't ever want to pass judgment on somebody and their desires. I think it's definitely important to get clear about why it is you want what you want because you know a lot of the time we think that we want something and then we get it and we're not really fulfilled and we don't know why. So I think that that's an important process. I think kind of surveying, putting the things that we want under a microscope is really, really important. But all in all, we don't need to have any judgment about it because the minute you're placing judgment, the minute you're kind of, again, disconnecting from the idea that everything around us is completely available because it simply is just, it's here because we're here. And if you truly believe that there's no, we put dollars on it. We put dollars on it, but what does currency mean? I mean, don't even get me started on that. That's a whole nother topic. That's a whole nother episode. Yeah, just because we have to put dollars and cents on something does not make it. Get rid of that. What if you just saw everything as equal to you? Then what would you want? Would it really even be that important to want it? I mean, ultimately, sometimes it's the experience that's wrapped up in something that we want, and that's a beautiful gift. But I just look at it this way. Don't Meditation to me is just so much simpler. It's about really just going back to remembering what it was like just being a kid. It's about coming from a place of excitement. It's about whatever that lights you up, pursue it. And whatever you desire, don't attach judgment to that. Don't make yourself feel guilty. Do the work that you need to do behind it, just for your own benefit, just for your own information. Because there's a lot of people. I mean, look at people that end up, they pursue a medical degree, and then they get the medical degree, and then they don't really feel any more settled. They don't feel any more fulfilled. They don't feel like they've achieved anything. And so it's really important, because I think just to our own vitality, to our own spirituality, to like put it, spiritual, I use that term in terms of like the essence of our spirit, for our own spiritness, if you want to use a word that doesn't really exist. I think that that's highly beneficial, so that then we can spend more time really, you know, really zeroing in on what it is that we really fucking want. Because we are here, and we do only have a limited amount of time. I mean, sure, we'll be back, but we do only have a limited amount of time. And so I think it is important for us to realize why it is that we want what we want, and just making sure that they're, just making sure that we're not expecting it to fill some type of void within us. But anyway, I feel like I've kind of gone all over the place about this. It really is a topic that I could talk about forever, because I'm passionate about it, because I've seen things unfold. I will tell you that when I really, just within my own energy and within my own design, when I really fight for something, like really feel like I am doing everything in my power, it almost gets me to a place. Well, no, it doesn't almost get me to a place. It always puts me in a place of resistance, because if you feel that you have to fight for what it is that you want, then sometimes that creates, a block to receiving it, essentially, is what I'm saying. And so that gets that gets us into the topic of, if you're wanting something so badly, then unfortunately, most of the time we're coming from a place of lack. And so it's really important to understand that excitement, and versus thinking that you need something in order to, be here on this planet. I'm going to use an example. So I have been an artist, the most of my life. I have definitely had full-time jobs. I've had part-time jobs since 2005. In 2005, I basically started my own photography business. And so I've been doing that since. For the first 3 years of owning my photography business, or no, I'm sorry. For the first 5 years, 6 years of having my photography business, I also worked full-time. And then I dropped down to part-time, because my business became just too much to do with a full-time job. And I have been part-time since then. So I worked a part-time, well, until very recently, I worked a part-time job, and then also did my business part-time. Now, here's the thing. Recently, very, very recently, my part-time job that I had, that was like, with corporate, so to speak, that has dropped off. And so I have been freaking out, searching like hell for something to replace it, whether it be full-time or part-time. I'm just like, I've been trying for the past, I don't even want to say trying, because that is not the word to describe this. I've been like fighting, right? And the thing is, the bitch of it is, you guys, is that with my belief systems that I have now, I don't even think it's necessary. I don't even think it's necessary. So the comical thing is I've been going down this path of like, oh my God, I have to have this because if I don't have this, then I didn't feel valid. Like there was a certain part of me that it was like, oh, I'm not a contributing member of society unless I have unless I have a full or a part-time job like with like a corporate company outside of myself, outside of Kimberly Dam. And so I was it was so funny. I was trying so hard. I was trying so hard, being the three keywords. I was trying so fucking hard to find something that I the irony in this, you guys, the irony. And see, this is I make the like hello, like these are the mistakes that we all make. I was trying so hard to find something that was full time, part time also, that like freaking spoke to me, that like really that I could feel passionate about, that grabbed my fucking soul and was like, yes, this is what you need to be doing. I was trying so hard. And here we are. It's been about a year and it still has not presented itself to me in that form. Many other things have, but not in that form. Not in the typical American 8 to 5 job, health insurance, benefits, 401k, you name it. It has not come in, you guys. And I have tried so hard. And what was so funny is all of these other opportunities came flying at me that I was actually passionate about, that I got so fucking excited about. And I did them. And I swear to God, the amount of abundance, and I'm talking financial, that came in was mind blowing to me. Do not fight. If you're not getting what it is that you think that you want, it might be because really deep down you don't want it. Just, my takeaway from my personal experience with, the past year, sit down and really figure out what it is that you want. Don't try to fulfill what other people expect of you. And trust that if that freaking full-time, part-time job that looks quote unquote normal to other people and makes it easier for them to accept your existence, if that shit doesn't come in, it's because it's not supposed to. It's because you're not excited about it. It was so funny. It was recently when I was able to kind of look back on the year, and I was talking to a friend of mine and I was like, well, no shit. Like it never came in. It never came in because I was not taking inspired action. I was taking action, yes, but it was like, the type of action that it was. I'm going to give you just the visualization. It was like, when you are just being like, when you're being like dragged through the mud, it's like you are like kicking and screaming. It was that type of action. It was like, oh, well, I guess I gotta do this. Anytime that you say, I guess I should do this, don't bother. Don't bother. Don't bother. I might be going off a little bit on a tangent here, but if there is seriously something that associated, because I talk to a lot of people that um, I'm actually like an intuitive entrepreneurship coach. And so I talk to a lot of small business owners who there's like certain aspects of their business and that they don't really resonate with, that they just feel like that they have to do because other people are doing it or because it's expected of them or whatever. And I'm just here to tell you, if there is something, okay, there are certain things, unfortunately, like your taxes, okay? But if your taxes are giving you so much anxiety, I just hire it out. There are just some things that are associated with business that just kind of suck. And if you really just can't do it without it dragging you all the way down vibrationally speaking, source it out. Source it out. Spirit is going to support you in that no matter what. Always source something out if it doesn't resonate with you, if it doesn't if it's dragging you so down, like so far down vibrationally speaking that you can't stand it. If you're like procrastinating it for weeks, hire it out. It's just ridiculous. I always believe that the financial support will come in. And for me, it has every single time. So I just encourage that. Not only that, but you're getting to support somebody doing what they love to do. So just think of it that way, you guys. Milk and honey for everyone. So anyway, back to what I was saying. If there is something, yeah, that you just don't vibe with within your business, but yet everybody else is doing it, don't fall into that. Things work when we believe that they work. And so just because something works for somebody else, it's not necessarily that it works. It's that they believe that it works, and so therefore it does work. But you can believe that something horrible works for your business, but that feels like crap, and it can work, but you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. Always, every aspect of your business, you want to be in alignment with yourself. So don't feel that you have to participate in certain aspects just because it's worked for them. I guess that's what I'm saying. Okay? Oh my goodness. I feel like that I've completely gone. This is like huge. I feel like I went off on a couple of tangents there, but I hope it all served you. If there is any topic that you would like me to talk about in the future, please feel free to drop me an email. I would love to hear from you guys always. Thank you again for listening, and I hope you stay connected.